Hi, I'm Pat Baer, and this is Pat Baer's Anime Club, an ongoing video series where every other Monday I put up an episode taking a look at something from the world of anime that I want to chat with you about. It could be a deep dive into a subgenre or the work of a particular author or animator or studio, something like that. It could be recommendations. In this case, it's actually regret for recommendations. I'll bring that up right now so you can see what I'm talking about here. 3 shows I regret recommending. So generally, the past couple of years, there will be an episode that I record live on my Twitch where I talk about the shows that just happened and the shows that are coming. And then I do a video where I talk about all the isekai that are coming out that season. Not necessarily recommendations, but I'll let you know if I'm going to be watching them, if I might watch them later, or if I'm going to skip them. Just, because there's so many isekai and I talk about them a lot. It's nice to have a video where I do that. And then usually in the episode like this slot here, I will be talking about some shows that I have been watching several episodes of and I'm very excited for, and I recommend that you check out. Now, one of the problems with that is it's often 2 or 3 episodes into a show, and a lot can change about mid-season of a particular series. So I'm going to delay my recommendations for the summer 2025 season until probably 2 weeks from now. I might even push it more than that, but definitely not right now, because several shows that I'm watching, I don't know. I could tell you they're great. It could turn out they're my favorite shows. That certainly happened. But often shows that I recommend are shows that I don't even finish, because it actually turns out that once the characters kind of got in, we got into the plot, it got monotonous, or maybe it could be something where the adaptation, like the studio came out swinging and then ran out of money, or it's an original. Recommending an original is tough because I don't know what's coming next. And so I looked back at a lot of my recommendations, and most of them, like I said, are either stuff that I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty good, or oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then there are a couple that stood out to me as shows that maybe if you had watched, you would be a little mad about me. Like maybe I shouldn't have recommended them, so I do regret them, as you can tell by the title. So these are 3 shows that I regret recommending, and I'll kind of talk about why, and we'll go through them right now. We'll start with the most recent show, literally from last season, Lazarus. I regret recommending Lazarus. I think it's a huge disappointment. I would say it's not the most disappointing show of the year or anything, or even the season, but I wish that I hadn't been suckered in by the cool music and great action of the first couple episodes, because I feel like I finished this out of obligation, that I kept waiting for it to turn it around. But as the plot kind of unveiled itself and the characters became little more than one note, with the exception of one character who was, of course, a tragic queer, because why wouldn't there be a tragic queer character in this show? So the only character development on the show is that. Great. Lazarus is really disappointing. It looks cool. It was surviving on vibes and silly names for characters. Popcorn Wizard, still top tier name for a hacker. Very good. But overall, it was just kind of disappointing. It didn't do what I would have liked. I would have liked more from it, I think is where I'll come on there. Because it just I don't know, it just didn't hit. It should have. I think it needed more. Well, first of all, I would say it probably needed either to be a smaller story or have more episodes. But there are very few quiet moments in the show. There are a few moments where we see these characters who seemingly have been thrust together and have formed a bond. We're not really witnessing that bond getting formed. We see them get introduced to each other, and then they're very close. It's just really disappointing, and I feel like you could totally skip it and just watch clips of some fight scenes on YouTube, and you would have been fine. So, sorry I recommended it, because I wouldn't recommend it again. Bullbuster. So, Bullbuster is the story of, in a world where there are mechs, but the mechs are kind of like exoskeleton construction stuff. Of course, the government would have some of that, but also there'd be small enterprises trying to do that. And so it is, on the one hand, we have big monsters and a mystery and robots fighting monsters. But on the other hand, Bullbuster is about a small business just trying to get by, dealing with an evil corporation and takeover attempts and interpersonal conflicts. And I guess I just wish it was more of that and less of... This is weird to say. I wish there was less mech fights in the show, and it was more about just like a slice of life, maybe even going for the like situation comedy workplace thing, but a workplace slice of life where there are mechs would have, I think, been a better show. Also, it's not in this image here, but just trust me when I say I thought I would be okay with the CGI mechs mixed in with the digital animation. I'm not. If it was all of one, even if the characters had been CGI as well, I think it would have come off better. It doesn't feel like the mechs belong in that world, and not in a like otherworldly sense, in a this doesn't mesh in my head. And your mileage may vary. You might think this show is really fun. You might think that the mechs fit in just fine. You might even say, Pat, maybe you should have named this shows Pat regrets watching all of, but that's not fully true because there's another one. But I do regret watching all of Bullbuster. I thought it was fine. It just didn't live up to its potential, and I think that it should have been less of an action series and more of a slice of life with mechs, which I say quite often because mechs are awesome, but they don't have to just be in action series. They can be in other things. So yeah, I regret recommending Bullbuster. I did hear from literally two people in my life who were like, yeah, I dropped that, Pat. You said it was cool, and it's just like, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. After like 3 episodes, I thought it was pretty damn cool. It just didn't really fulfill its potential, in my opinion. Of course, this is all my opinion. And the third anime that I'll say I regret recommending to you is Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. This is a show that, like, this art looks pretty rad, right? And the backgrounds, like, you can kind of see it in this, but let me tell you, the painterly style of backgrounds of this show really went a long way for like 2 episodes and me thinking this was going to be pretty good. It's just they spent all their money on the backgrounds and not on the character animation. And clearly it had a budget, but they spent all the budget on the backgrounds, which does not make for a pleasant viewing experience. And I'll say, I didn't finish this show. Didn't finish it. There were plenty of episodes. I could go back to it if I wanted to. I thought the story was kind of fun. I do like the all I've lived for is to die, what do I do now thing. But that got overshadowed by the I need to make sure that I'm supporting this, my savior, properly. And like, I don't know, I wanted a little more her and a little less them, if that makes any sense. I do love the idea of this main character who's only revealed his true self to his beloved. There were so many machinations of people trying to get her to fail. And the thing was, it was just like, okay, everyone is scared of the King of Beasts, you know, the Demon King. But they also don't want this girl to be the queen, and they will do everything they can to sabotage her, despite the fact that he clearly loves her and has chosen her and will kill them, except for the fact that she doesn't want him to kill them, is the only reason they're still alive. And yet they keep coming up with new ways, and it's just what's like, either be smarter or give up. I don't know what to tell you. And it just got really frustrating. And that's, again, outside of the fact that it is not animated well, and I don't think is a good show. The background's really great. And still photography, you know, the still screenshots of this show look phenomenal. It just, I'm sorry for anybody that started the show because I recommended it. That's about it, right? Really, when it comes right down to it. Now, there are other shows that turns out I never recommended Helk, and I'm glad I never did because I hate watched that show. That show had such a great start to it. I actually, when I was thinking of this video, I thought I had Helk on my list. It turns out I never recommended it, so I'm safe on that. But Helk is a show that I do regret watching all of. I started hate watching it towards the end because I was like, well, this is the only reason I have High Dive, and it's a 2-core. It's a 2-core. This for the second. I think the second one that was the only show in High Dive I was watching, and I should have just stopped watching it. I had so much promise. The first couple episodes were so fun and interesting, and then the real story started. And that's the case. Like sometimes these shows, I watch 2 or 3 episodes of a show, and then I drop it because it's just like, no, this is what I'm looking for. I just did that recently with a show where I was like the Magic Tutor, because I was just like, if every episode is going to be this dad that hired a guy to tutor his daughter doesn't want her to go to a magic academy, and every episode is our guy trying to convince his dad to wait off, and it's like, well, I'm going to be mad again soon. Like, nah, I don't need to watch that. Plus, it's a little creepy. That happens. But I will say this. I will take this opportunity because this was a shorter episode than some other episodes of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Because, again, I couldn't find so many examples like Lazarus and Bullbuster and Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts, where I was like, I definitely regret telling you to watch this. One, you don't have to watch the things I recommend. Hopefully it's a guide. I did a video for last season talking about all of the many really fun girls doing things shows, and if one of those didn't hit for you, don't worry, there's another one. There's going to be, unfortunately this season, not really many cases. One I thought was just going to be a sports girls doing things, but now there's time travel involved in it, and it might be an isekai. I don't think it's an isekai, but it might be an isekai. I don't think it is one, but it might be. So it's just like, all right, I don't know what to tell you on that. But yeah, if you can remember a show that I recommended to you and you regret watching it, I would love that. I would love to do a follow-up on this, I guess. Like, if I could get enough examples and do an episode that is shows people wish I hadn't recommended, I think that would be very funny. Because, I look back on these, going through this, and there are some shows I'm like, oh, actually, that show was really fun. Or, yeah, that was good. Oh, it wasn't that great, but it wasn't, like, terrible. And some people might be like, an example. I will give you an example. One of my favorite shows of, I think, the 2020 season, maybe the 2021 season, I'm sorry, I don't remember, is the original show Decadence. A friend of mine did not enjoy Decadence and was like, Pat, I watched it because it was on your top 10, but nah, I didn't really enjoy it. I think I gave it 2 episodes, and I was like, okay, I don't know. It's really fun and inventive. So maybe there's something there. I could include Decadence in that, maybe. Also, if you have ideas for future videos you'd like to see me do, my next one will be my recommendations for this season, because there are shows that I do recommend. We can go to this here. There are shows that I do recommend that I am watching right now. I won't say them here, but you'll probably know. Some season 2 stuff that I think is really strong, and some originals that I think are good. Originals or new adaptations, I should say. I do have some other videos that I would like to do here. Again, I have to do my recommendations, so we'll get that. The anime I never want to see again, but I love is definitely a thing I want to do. And we're close to me doing another worst reveals of anime worst reveals, a part 2, because a show this season should be revealing its big plot twist, which I think sucks. It might actually be a 2-core, so I might have to wait on that one. We'll see. But eventually I'm going to do that. And then also another weird manga. I gotta do another weird one. I gotta do another weird manga recommendation video for all you, because I've got more to recommend. And if you have an idea for a video you'd like to see me do, something you'd like to see me cover, a subgenre, if you want another explanation video, if you want recommendations on, I don't know, like light novels or something like that, let me know in the comments below. It's been a while since we had some comments, and I would like to see some, so this is your call to action. And that's going to do it for this episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Thank you so much for watching it. Send it to a friend, right? I don't know. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.